Hello, everybody on YouTube. Steve here with Rake and Profit over at rakeandprofit.com. Coming back to you guys with another live show. And today's live show, it's not going to be super long. I'm going to get straight to the point, right? Sometimes I ramble, sometimes I chit chat them in the comments. I'll save that to the end. But for the folks who are landing on this video, we're going to dive right in and we're going to cover these 21 top selling brands within the tie category that sell on eBay. Real quick, guys, ties are awesome to sell for a couple various reasons. Number one, you can typically pick up ties super cheap at thrift stores, garage sales, flea markets, mostly thrift stores. And if you have any Goodwill bins or Saver bins, places where you can buy these things, pay by the pound, you can get them super duper cheap. Number two, they ship fairly cheap as well and easily to ship. Throw them in a poly bag or a poly mailer, excuse me. You could ship it off for probably, I don't know, around $2, maybe more. And it's just super duper easy to ship. And, number three, they're popular. Ties aren't going out of style. People always need ties. You can wear them casually. You can wear them to more formal occasions. They're in demand. People want them. So let's dive in. Give me a couple minutes, guys, and I'll get back into the comments section. But let's jump into this show and cover the top 21 brands. I'm not going to dive too deep into why you should buy them. I'm not an expert with each brand. There's certain brands I won't be able to pronounce. So don't watch this video to learn how to pronounce ties. Don't watch this to try to figure out all the details. Just write these brands down. If you see them, do some more research and pick them up. So let's dive into the show. All right, first brand of a tie that does really, really well is the brand Thomas Pink. Thomas Pink. And not only does this brand do well for, dress shirts mostly, but ties as well. I want to show you the tag right here, Thomas Pink, Jermyn Street, London. This is a London brand. Look out for that tag right there. It is pink, just like the name. This does very, very well. It's not super hard to come across either. I've found this brand, probably like 50 times. So you can find this, especially at the thrift stores. Brand number two, this is a brand that you'll come across very, very easily. Not every single Brooks Brothers tie is going to be created equally. I try to find the ties that have a cool pattern, that stick out, that have vibrant colors. Brooks Brothers is kind of like Ralph Lauren, where you've got to find something unique, whether the material's really cool, the pattern's really nice, or it's just a very well-made tie. These ties aren't all created equally, but a lot of times you could find nice ties like the one all the way to the left. You see that with the diagonal stripes. A lot of times you get 15 bucks a pop, 10 to 15 bucks a pop for those. The one to the right of it, that red one with the checks, that kind of looks bland. It's not very exciting. Ties like that typically 6, 7, 8 bucks. Not a lot of money in those, but Brooks Brothers is one of those brands where you've got to find something unique. But then again, you pay $1 for a tie and sell it for $7, especially if you have helpers, employees, there's still money to be made there. Next up, high-end brand Louis Vuitton. This brand you're not going to come across often. It's very hard to come across, but just know Louis Vuitton isn't only in the handbag purse market. They also make dress shirts. They also make t-shirts. They make ties. And I've come across a couple Louis Vuitton ties. The thing is, even the bland ones, the ties that aren't even that exciting do pretty well. All right, let me just make sure my sound is working properly. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, awesome. So Louis Vuitton, you definitely want to be on the lookout for that brand right there. But again, it's going to be very, very hard to come across. Next up is a brand. I believe the brand is Augusta National. This is I want to say it's a golf tournament. Again, I had talked about buying this brand, the Masters logo on hats. I talked about it in my last video about buying, shirts and whatnot, polo shirts with this logo. I'm not sure if Augusta National is the brand or if it's a tournament. I'm not really sure. But what I want you to get out of this right here is look for this little logo. Let me see. You see those little logos all over it with the little the little golf logo, the Masters logo. Be on the lookout for that. Look at this tie. It sold for $52.50. Now, I've come across Masters hats. I've come across T-shirts, polo shirts, but I've never come across a tie. But it just goes to show, if you find a tie that's very, very unique with something that has a strong following behind it, could bring in really, really good money. I don't know if, do you guys know the TV show The Walking Dead? I guarantee you, if you found a tie with like the Walking Dead theme, something unique, it would go for good money because there's collectors out there. There's a strong following. There's a big market. So this went for $52.50, and I'm not surprised at all. Here is a brand that I've sold a couple times in the past. I've sold a few dress shirts. I don't think I've ever sold a tie. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm going to call it Duchamp, but I could guarantee you that that's pronounced incorrectly. But again, I'm not here to pronounce things correctly. I'm here to make some money, and I think you are as well. Take a look at this brand, Duchamp. This is a London brand. Few things that pop out to me: the color. Color is just crazy. It looks like this thing is made with really, really high quality. The stitching, the design. But this is a brand that can bring you in some really good money right here. Handmade in England. Next on deck is Ralph Lauren Polo, and the same thing stands with Ralph Lauren Polo as I mentioned with Brooks Brothers. There's a million Ralph Lauren Polo ties out there. Let's just be honest. There's a million Brooks Brothers ties. But the thing with these brands, especially Ralph Lauren Polo, if you find something unique, something obscure, something out of the ordinary, something rare, you're looking at big bucks. Ralph Lauren Polo is one of those brands where people collect it, especially if you find something with a bear on it. And you'll find bears skiing, you'll find bears playing golf, you'll find all types of little pairs on some of these items, from hats to shirts to ties. Ralph Lauren Polo, if you find a tie with a bear on it, you're guaranteed to make some really good money. I've never found a tie with a bear on it in the Ralph Lauren Polo brand, but I'm hoping maybe one day I will. I've found shirts before. I found a hat. But I love this bear Ralph Lauren Polo stuff. Does extremely well. Take a look in the sold listings afterwards. Ralph Lauren Polo, big bear, small bear, brings in really good money. Next up is the brand Marinella. And when I was doing research for this video, most of these brands I already knew, about 98% of them. But this one, I never heard of it before. I don't know if I've researched it previously or maybe my brain just forgot it. I don't know. But Marinella, Marinella, appears to be an Italian brand. I did a little research, and these things were selling for pretty good margins, right? They were selling for 30, 40, 50 plus, just based on the sold listing. So be on the lookout for this brand right here. Let me pull up the tag. Marinella. Very interesting. I don't know much about it, but just remember this brand. Next on deck is the brand Chanel. Now, when you think of Chanel, you typically think of, women's handbags. That's what they're known for. But they also make other types of items. I didn't know that they made ties. I really didn't. I don't think I've ever come across a Chanel tie. Maybe I have and I just forgot. But yeah, just remember this brand right here. Let me see if I could get the tag for you. Where are we? Right here. Chanel, Paris, Chanel. I'm sure all the women know this brand, but I didn't know, or at least I didn't remember that they made ties. So when you're going through the tie section, half the battle is just finding the actual tag, because most of these ties, they all look the same in a sense, right? They're ties. They all have different designs. But the key is to find the tag, right? The brand. The money's in the brand when it comes to ties. So take a look at this brand. Remember it. If you're going through and you see it, pick that puppy up. This sold for $89 right here. Next up is a vintage Gianni Versace from 1997 black tie. Versace is a brand that you probably think anything would sell for a ridiculous amount of money, and a lot of it does, but there's also quite a few Versace ties that I've sold in the past that didn't sell as well as I thought. I mean, you're going to pick up ties typically for a quarter if you're shopping at the bins, or if you're at Savers or Goodwill, maybe a buck or two, maybe three or four at most. But this one sold for 167.49. But I found a lot of them actually only sell for like 10, 15 bucks. Let me see. Let's go here. Versace men's ties, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can find some that don't sell as well. But I mean, typically this brand's going to bring you in some really good money. So, typically if you're buying it for a buck or two, you're going to buy it all day long. So this one went for 14, 23, 25, 19. I'm trying to find some that didn't do as well. Oh, that's a beautiful looking design right there. So maybe I'm going to eat my words. See, 16.99. You'd probably think anything Versace would be like 50 plus because in the store it's just so much money. But these are actually selling a lot better than I thought. Very cool. See, here's one, 12 bucks, 7 bucks. So sometimes they don't do as well, 7.50. But still, if you're getting them for a couple bucks, you want to definitely be on the lookout for this brand right here. Show you the tag real quick. Cool. Gianni Versace. All right. Next on deck is the brand Donald Trump. Who would have ever thought in a million years that Donald Trump would become the president of the United States? Well, he is. And across the board, all of his products from board games to books to men's accessories such as ties have gone through the roof in value. I remember he had this board game. I forgot what it was called. I don't know if it was called The Art of the Deal, but I remember like 5 years ago, I had that board game brand new in the box. And at the time, it was only going for like $20. And now, brand new in the box, it's going for like 200. So not all Donald Trump tires are going for crazy money. But based on my research, most Donald Trump ties, even the lousy ones, are going for at least $10. Most of them falling within the $15 to $20 range. And if you find the higher end ties with the better quality material, the really unique design, something that looks great. I mean, this one's like screaming out America all day long. $49.60. I mean, you could have become a millionaire if you just went to thrift stores like 10 years ago, picking up all the Donald Trump ties because nobody wanted them. They would just sit and sit. Even all of his dress shirts, they would sit and sit at the thrift stores I noticed in Connecticut. And now they sell like hotcakes. Let me type in Donald Trump men's clothing. So I'm doing this off the cuff right now. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's see. Let's go to sold. I mean, his stuff is selling. Anywho, let's stick to the topic right here. Next tie that sells really well is Burberry, especially the Burberry London. Type of tie. There's a couple different, variations of these Burberry ties. The older ones will typically have the blue tie. They're vintage in nature. They don't sell as well, maybe 8, 10, 12, 14 bucks. But if you find this tannish tag, it's the Burberry London tag. Even with dress shirts, these sell really well. This sold for 65 bucks. Recently, I had sold a tie. It had a stain in it, Burberry London. I think I sold it for 30 or 40 bucks or more. So even if these things are flawed, they'll sell. These Burberry London ties are super expensive in the stores, probably $98 or more. So be on the lookout for Burberry London, especially. Next up is a brand you might not think sells really well, but it actually does. Robert Talbott. Robert Talbott ties sell extremely well. Here's an example of a tie that sold for $69.99. Now, some of these will sell for, 10, 12, 15 bucks, depending on if you're going auction versus buy it now. But if you get a Robert Talbott tie that is just super unique, has an awesome design, a cool pattern, vibrant colors, you're looking at good money, $25, $30, $35 plus pretty often. Next up is a very hard to come across brand. I don't think I've ever come across this brand in the 4 years that I've been reselling. The brand is Tom Ford. I believe Jay-Z had come out with a song a couple of years ago talking about this brand in one of his rap songs. Tom Ford, you might have recognized that name. Super high end, super expensive for the rich, for the wealthy. Tom Ford. That's all I gotta say. If you see the tag, buy it. That's it. Buy it. You see it, buy it. Bring it home. make some money. Speaking of super expensive high-end brands as well, here's a brand that I found a couple times, sells extremely well regardless of what type of item it is in the men's line. It could be a dress shirt, it could be a suit, it could be trousers, it could be a tie. Kiton, Kiton. Here's an Italian brand right here with a cool geometric pattern. 70 buckaroos right here, $70 for a tie. You might be thinking to yourself, who in the right mind would buy this tie? To be honest, I don't know. Doesn't look that special, but this brand sells really, really well. Next up is a brand, Steffano Ricci. I'm not sure. Ricci. I don't know. Another Italian brand, I want to say. I think it's an Italian brand. Yes, made in Italy. $125 on this tie right here. Title mentions the brand white woven pleated, 100% silk, men's luxury tie rare. So there's a brand to be on the lookout for right there. Steffano Ricci or Ricci. Who knows? Next up is a brand, Ermenegildo Zenga, as I like to call it. This is a brand that, if you guys have followed me, you know about. Brand sells well with suits and jackets and dress shirts. Anything you could find, this brand sells well. Another high-end Italian brand. Let me show you the tag so you can be on the lookout for this. Where are we? So it looks like it's a little faded right there. Let me find another picture for you guys. Okay, Ermenegildo Zenga or Zagna ties. Let's go down to sold. All right, so some of these aren't going to sell as well, but if you find a cool pattern, something unique, hopefully you're understanding where I'm coming from. I've been mentioning that so many times. You want to find a cool pattern, you want to find a great design, vibrant colors. They'll sell well. It'll sell well, 15, 20, 30 bucks plus. But let me find you the tag very quickly. Let's see if this one has the tag. As I scroll down, here we go. So that's what you want to be looking out for right there by that brand. Next up is a brand called Salvatore Ferragamo. This is another Italian brand, very popular with women's shoes. Salvatore Ferragamo snail pattern. Sometimes you'll find these ties with a interesting theme. Those always tend to do very, very well. 52 bucks right here, Salvatore Ferragamo. Check it out. Not much to say about this brand. If you find it, buy it. Please do me a favor and make yourself some money. Next up is another high-end Italian brand, Gucci. Hard to come across. I've only found maybe 2 Gucci ties in my career. The ones that I had found were somewhat bland, not very exciting. But here's an example of one. 220 retail, sold for $43 used, 7 bids, $3 shipping. And yeah, what can I say? It's Gucci, guys. Gucci sells. It's popular. Just make sure it's real. Next up, another Italian brand, high-end Italian brand. As you may have noticed, I'm talking about a lot of Italian brands. You gotta, Rakin, you gotta work on your Italian, bro. You're telling me. I'm losing subscribers massively due to my pronunciations. But here we go. Brioni. Check this out. This has got like a crazy design. It reminds me of like a Jams World shirt. If you don't know that brand, look up Jams World. Crazy, crazy designs. Brioni does really well. Anything you find, Brioni, pick it up. I don't care what it is. $42.99 right here. Take a look at that brand and the tag, Brioni. Here we have a Hermes tie. I used to always call it Hermes, but then I learned it was Hermes. Silk red novelty chain pattern, made in France. Now, this is like the pinnacle of ties. This is a brand that pretty much dominates the high-end tie market. Hermes, Hermes. I want to say this is Italian, but I see it's made in France, so I'm not exactly sure, to be honest with you. So okay, never mind. It's not Italian. Paris. So it's a French brand right here, Hermes. Maybe I could have picked up that information from the pronunciation. But anyways, $41.99. I've sold an Hermes tie for $100 before, brand new with tags. I tried to get more, it just wouldn't go. I don't know why. But this brand, in terms of ties, is like the pinnacle. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Men's accessories, bada bing, bada boom. Sold listings. Check this out. 41, 109, 125, uh, 30, 30, 43, 62, 32, 40, 39. This is a tie that you want to pick up. Find a tie in the Hermes brand with a theme like whales, 94.99. So you find a high-end Hermes tie with some unique design, you're going to make some really, really good money. And the last tie I want to talk about, and one of my all-time favorite brands, is the brand Vineyard Vines, made in the USA. I love Vineyard Vines. Speaking of themes and little animal themes, this is a brand that has a lot of various themes. Big, big money in the Vineyard Vines tie collections. One of these brands that are just super popular, not only with the young guns, but the middle-aged folks as well. They have ties. They have pants and shirts and dress shirts and shorts. They have it all from underwear to socks. I mean, this brand is like probably my favorite. So Vineyard Vines, be on the lookout for that brand. Here's the tie. Respect it, buy it, and make yourself some money. So there is my presentation. Let me get back to, let me see, where am I? Okay, cool. I want to check out the comment sections and answer any questions that you guys have. So a lot of people have been saying, Steve, like I can't watch all these live shows. They're super long. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to just give you the content as fast as possible. So for the folks who came here just for like learning about the brands, so there you go. You got it. Record time. How long did it take me? 21 minutes only. So there you go. If you have any questions, guys, feel free to ask some questions. I'm going to go into the comment feed right now and answer some questions. 118 people watching live. If you are enjoying this video, do me a favor, hit the like button. Yesterday, if you were lucky enough to watch the live show, we gave away some prizes on the live show. And also, I'm giving away another prize on yesterday's show. You just have to go into the comments of yesterday's video and name your favorite clothing brand. I'll be picking somebody shortly. So be sure to like this video and go back to that video I made yesterday and leave a comment over there. I'll be picking a winner within the next couple of days. Eric, do you think it's necessary to open a second eBay store account for just a specific niche? I don't think it's necessary. I have a couple various accounts. I think I have 3 accounts in total right now, but I only use 2, and one of them I just kind of screw around on. I like to niche down on one of my stores, and then the other one I just kind of sell whatever I want. So I don't think it makes that big of a difference, but I think it helps with branding as well. So either way, I think you're fine. Jeanette, what's going on? Good to see you. Joy Times 4, thanks for all the info. Joy Times, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Thick versus thin ties, which sells for more? You know what? If you've got a good brand, I think they both sell pretty well. I'm definitely not a tie expert, to be honest with you guys. I'm just a guy who studies I study the brands and I memorize them. And if I see them, I pick them up. I'm not like huge into like knowing all the ins and outs of ties. But from my experience, regardless if it's thick or thin, if you've got a really good brand, it typically sells really well. So take that for what it's worth. How much should you price ties at, like Brooks Brothers Vineyard Vines? The best way to price ties is based on comparable sales. So what you're going to want to do is go into eBay and say you have a Vineyard Vines tie with whales on it. Type in Vineyard Vines ties whale or something like that, right? Whatever the theme is, type that in and try to find a similar tie that's sold, the same color, the same design, the same format, whether it's buy it now or auction, and price it based on that. That's how I price all of my ties. But the first thing is to know that a tie is actually worth money, and that's what hopefully you've been learning in this video. But the next step, once you find that tie, do your own research when you list it, find comparable sales and price it off of that, and of course off your business model. So Don Wilson says, Steve, thanks for the video. I will have more confidence now in looking at the thrift stores. Don, thanks for watching. That's what this video is all about. I'm definitely no, tie expert, but I'm just a guy just going through the sold listings and, sharing what I learned. So that's why I like to do these videos. They're not the most original style videos. They're not the most exciting. But at the end of the day, guys, finding ties to make money, it just comes down to finding that tag, whether it's a Vineyard Vines tag or a Louis Vuitton or an Hermes or a Ferragamo. I mean, there's so many brands out there, but you've got to recognize those brands on the tag and then pick them up and do your own research. Are ties a good place to start with eBay? I think ties are a great way to start just because they're cheap. You can make mistakes on a budget, which means, when you're new selling on eBay, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to screw up. And I think it's great because you're not super vulnerable. Ties are cheap. Um, they're inexpensive, right? They're easy to ship, and the ROI, the return on investment's typically pretty high just due to the low investment. So I think it's a great way to get started. Is there a website to locate Goodwill bins? I'm not sure. I'm in Connecticut. I know we have one in, I believe, Hamden, which is like 40 minutes away. So I rarely go because I typically don't need to go out that far to find enough inventory for myself. Um, but I don't know. If anybody knows, definitely leave a comment below. So GWF says they take a long time to sell unless you got that good ish. Yeah, ties are definitely long tail depending on what you get. There's a lot of there's people with tie stores that have like 20,000 ties in their store. Anything from $4 to $5 ties up to 50, 60, $100 ties. The cheaper ties, the more common ties, a basic pattern, whether it has a stain or not, just something that's just mass produced. It's going to take a while. Ties and like blazers and suits are kind of in the same category where you've got to find a specific buyer who wants that item. It's not like a polo shirt, right? Where there's a million people that want it. So they could be a little long tail if you don't have the best brand. But I guess it really depends unless you have that good ish, as a GWF said. Someone says, "Can I start an e-commerce store for $100?" You could start a Shopify store for $30 a month. Obviously you're gonna have to buy the other apps that go along with it. But you ain't gonna be making money just spending $100. It's gonna take a lot more than that, from my experience. Garage Flips is asking, does anybody sell ties in the chat? What's the sell through like? So if anyone in here is a mass seller or a high volume seller of ties, leave a comment below. I'm definitely not. I'm a guy who picks up a tie every now and then and sells them. So I don't know exactly what the sell through rate is. I think it really just depends on the brand, right? The brand and the style and the pattern and the vibrancy of the tie. I've had Robert Talbott ties. I've listed 7, 8 up, and they all sell within a week or two. And then I've had some that sit for 5 months for whatever reason, right? So also depends on how you price them. DJ John. So DJ saying, if you want to talk about mistakes, I'm only 3 months in to selling and have sunk $1,500 into clothes. What should you limit yourself to in your pickups? So, first off, I'd like to make a wild assumption and guess that DJ John, that you've sunk $1,500 in the clothes, but I'm going to guess that you've only listed 25% of them up. I could be wrong, but $1,500 worth of clothes in 3 months, that's a lot of clothes if you're buying cheap. So, my advice to you is, if you haven't listed all of your clothes yet, list them all up and stop buying clothes. Stop buying. I've fallen into the same trap before where I just buy like an adrenaline junkie, just looking for that next deal. But I didn't get myself into a listing routine, and I didn't build up that habit and that ritual of listing on a daily basis. When I stopped buying and I focused on listing, and I was listing 10 items a day, I still remember this was, I don't know, 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, probably, yeah, 3.5 years ago. I was living at home with my parents. I was, 25, 26 years old, still living at home with my parents. And I'm like, I've got to make a change. And I was buying all these clothes and I wasn't making a ton of money. Once I finally chilled out with buying and I started listing 10 items a day, every day, that's when my sales really went up. And it went up substantially when I stopped buying because I was focused on listing. So, in terms of what should you limit yourself to in terms of your pickups, if you're 3 months in, that's going to depend on your risk tolerance, how much money you have, how long you're willing to wait, your business model. But I would say focus on items that make you X amount of dollars minimum. When I first got started, I was making a minimum of $5 per shirt. I'd pick up a Brooks Brothers Maker shirt for 5 and sell it for 15 and make $5. But then I realized it's not really worth my time. and I was a one-man show at that time. So I started making a $10 minimum profit per shirt. So I'd say $10 minimum is a really good place to start. When you're first getting started, you're going to buy things, a couple bucks profit because you're just getting started with it and you're just so excited. But once you realize how much time it takes from picking it up to ironing it, to cleaning it if you have to measuring it, to listing it, photographing it, keywords, description, item specifics, customer service, shipping it, you realize that your time is worth more than $5 per item unless you've got systems in place like employees or virtual assistants helping you on the back end. So I would say list, stop buying, and figure out what your minimum profit needs to be to make it worth your time. So you're not stuck in the system of just like listing like crazy for things that don't even make you that much money. So hopefully that advice helps you. Pamela Dean, what's going on, Pamela? Thanks for watching. Pamela says, I'm having a little bit of a slow start, but I work another job. I'm only listing 10 to 15 a week. That's fine. Congratulations for listing 10 to 15 per week. Everybody starts somewhere. I've learned that there's a strong correlation between how much you list and how much you make. So if you want to make more money, you're going to have to start with listing more. So, 10 to 15 is great per week starting off, especially if you have another job. But if you want to double that, you're probably going to have to double your listings and or cut out some of the items that aren't making you much money and get a little more pickier. Like instead of messing with items that only make you $5 or $6 profit and listing 20, maybe listing 12 or 13 of something that makes you 12 or $13 profit and spending a little more money on the back end or a little more time in the back end sourcing better items. So, but congrats though, you're getting started. Watched your video about baseball gloves. Found a new wood tags. I'm not sure. Nakona. I'm not sure if I've ever heard that brand in my son's closet. Someone gave it to him as a gift, and he never played baseball. Thanks for the great info. Wow. Maybe I know that brand. Maybe I don't. That brand doesn't look super familiar to me, but you seem pretty confident that it's worth really good money. So, half the battle is just knowing that an item is worth money. You know how many people I'll be at a garage sale and they just put out like a Mizuno leather glove, right, from like their son when he played high school for like $2, and I sell it for like 80. People don't even realize these items actually retain value. Baseball gloves retain their value pretty well, so definitely be on the lookout for them. Christopher Lynn, 10K on the Bay. What is going on, man? Looks like we got you booked up for the Green Room show this Wednesday, so looking forward to that. Good to have you here. Thrilla Gorilla Picker, what's going on, Thrilla? Let's see. He's saying that he sold a handheld game for 25, and when I looked at the pick, uh, for 399 sticker on the pick. So I think he paid 399 and sold something for 25 right there. Pretty cool. Keno Wood says, thanks for saying stop buying. I live 5 minutes from a Goodwill distribution center, so I'm buying every day, but can't list fast enough. What's that like? I want to know, guys, in the comment section, how far away are you folks from your nearest thrift store? I want to know. For me personally, where I live right now, if I would go down the street, I have about, let's see, probably like a 7 minute ride to Goodwill, and then if I ride another 7 minutes down the road, there's a Savers. Those are the two that are closest to me. Does anybody like live across the street from a Goodwill or maybe like a minute away? What's that like? Like I'm trying to imagine if I lived across the street from a Goodwill, like would I have a life? Right? Would I have a girlfriend? Because I would probably just be there all day long, going back and forth like every like 20 minutes, right? Because I tell you, if you actually just sit in a thrift store all day long, and I would never do that, but if you did, like you could make so much money because the money's when the new bins and the carts come out. And they're coming out all day long. Like if I lived across from a Goodwill, I'd probably go in like 5 times a day just for like 5 minutes at a time. Just bounce in, bounce out really quick. Because all it takes is that new bin, that new cart that comes out just to hit a jackpot, right? Mischievous Mal, what's going on, girl? 1 mile on the way to the gym. So 1 mile is not bad at all. Spit is saying, I'm just gonna abbreviate your name. Spit. I live 5 to 6 blocks away from my nearest Goodwill, so that's not too far. Holy mackerel. Patricia Franco says, I have over 20 thrift stores near me. She's in the thrift store heaven. She's been blessed by the thrift store gods. Linda says nearest thrift store is 300 yards across the street. Linda, it's crazy, right? What do you go there for breakfast, go for lunch, go for dinner? You're just popping in and out all day long. That's what I'd be doing. Dwight Graff says, first of all, Dwight, good to see you, man. Great advice. I'm a buying junkie. Need to list, and then list some more. Here's the thing, guys. Listing isn't fun, right? Listing sucks. I hate listing. But you want to know what? Listing is where you make the money. And one thing I've noticed as well over the last 4 years for me personally, listing is like lifting weights or going to the gym. Yeah, listing is like going to the gym. The more you list, the more you get your butt in gear and you take pictures and you get them, thrown up on eBay. The more you list, the easier it is to list. And like once you get into a groove, it's like you say to yourself, like, why was I not listing the last like 3 months? Why was I being so lazy? Here's the thing: the more you list, the easier it gets. You get in a routine, a habit. Same thing as with going to the gym. Have you ever like, you know, not gone to the gym for 8 months and then you get your fat butt there and you're like, holy crap, my lungs are burning. Like this is so hard and like, oh my gosh. But then you keep going and going and going and like it's super easy. And then you say to yourself, why was I not going to the gym? This is so easy. It's just freaking habits. It's just like the more you do it, the easier it gets. It's crazy. Super crazy. Garage Flips is gonna make a merch shirt. Do you even list, bro? So Mischievous Mal is definitely relating to what I'm saying. I'm telling you, the more you list, the easier it is. So 104 people watching live. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this video. If you are, be sure to hit the like button. I definitely appreciate that. Let's see. I'm just looking to see if there's any more comments coming through. Vicky says I have a buying problem. It's easy to buy. It's no problem to buy. Listing's the tough part because you actually have to stop what you're doing and focus and go through the process of taking pictures and slowing down, right? So many of us were racing around, including myself, and you're always on the go. But when you're listing, you're kind of slowing everything down and just making it happen. KJ says, oh my God, my husband was listening with me and went in his closet of like 500 ties and gave me a bunch he was throwing away. I'm not sure what that first one is, but Burberry's, Barney's, Valentino, Pucci. Thanks for this video. I tell you, ties can make you some really, really good money, and they're easy to list. Super easy to list, easy to ship. They're easy to measure. Super simple right there. Ties are great. Vicky says I probably have 400 items not listed. I've got a lot of items I need to list as well right now, to be 100% honest. I've taken some time off of eBay for a while, and I've been doing mostly Amazon FBA. But I'm in the mix of moving right now to a new place, and once I get situated over there, I'm gonna go on a listing frenzy. Super, super crazy listing frenzy. I'm just gonna grind. The cool thing about eBay is you could take time off, right? Like you could take a couple months off from eBay if you've got a good amount of items in your store, and you'll still make sales. But the crummy thing is when you stop listing, sales just like dwindle. It's almost as if the eBay algorithm like ignores you, right? It's like, oh, you're not giving me love, I'm not going to give you love. But you could take time off and still make sales. But another cool thing is you could take time off and then get back into the grind, again and list up like 100, 200 items and have like amazing sales again. That's the cool thing about reselling, right? You don't have to always like a job, like a normal job. You have to always go to make money. With eBay and Amazon and well, kind of not Craigslist because you have to, do the deal right there. But reselling, you could go on and off, and like if you get bored with eBay, you could do Amazon, and if you get bored with Amazon, you could do eBay, and if you wanted to go back to working a job for 6 months, you could, and then you could come back to reselling. Like it's super cool. The internet has just opened up so many opportunities. Do you recommend opening a store or just a normal free account? If you're new, just open a free account. But once you get enough items listed, you're going to want to have the store to be able to run sales, to go on vacation mode, save on like insertion fees and different fees and whatnot. But when you're starting, you don't need to have the store. Mischievous Mouse says, do you know the app that Jason T. Smith was using in a video you guys posted a few days ago, the reverse image search? I think it was just a Google translation app, he had told me, because I had messaged him and he said, Let me see. I'm looking on my phone right now because I messaged him on Facebook. I believe it was the Google Translate app. So look for that. I could go dormant for a week and sell 2 or 3 things, but when I go back to listing, it's 6 or 7 a day. Exactly. I don't know what it is, but the more you list, the more you sell. I've even noticed that when I'm listing on a regular basis, a consistent regular basis, items that haven't been selling that have just been sitting for like 3 or 4 months, they start to sell. It's almost as if the more love you give eBay, the more love they give you back with helping to rank you in the search engine. I don't know. It makes sense though. Yeah, I know that app that Jason was using was pretty crazy. What's a good app to scan items? If you're selling on eBay, just download the eBay app. You could actually scan barcodes with that as well. If you're selling on Amazon, just use the Amazon Seller app. That's a free app. So they're both free. If you're looking for something more advanced, you can get crap. What's it called? FBA Scan for like selling books, or Nito Scan, which is pretty more advanced. I know Scan Power has a scanning app as well. Mischievous Mal, too many questions. I'm kicking you off. I'm just kidding. Um, Sorry for all the questions, Ray. Can do you know any Cassini experts? No worries, I got you. I don't know any experts. I just know just what I know, just based on my experience. So I would like to be on the lookout for somebody and bring them on a show. That would be cool. How do you scan barcodes on eBay? You just get the eBay app, and then in the top right-hand corner, there's a little camera sign. You hit that, and then the barcode scanner comes up, and you just scan it over a barcode. D. Duran says I use FBA scans about $10 a month. Yesterday was great at the Goodwill outlet for me. I found 40 pounds of great designer clothing. Let's take a guess. What's this guy's name? His name is like just like Dot. How much do you think this guy paid for $40 worth of pounds? $40 worth of pounds. That made sense. What do you think this guy paid for 40 pounds worth of designer clothing? I'm gonna guess you probably went to the bins. Let's just say, I don't know, 70, $80. I'm not familiar with the prices at bins. I've only gone a couple times. When you block buyers on eBay, can they still see your listings? I don't think so, but maybe. I'm not sure of that answer. Spatel2857, thanks for watching. Love your videos. Appreciate it. Thank you. Hopefully it's helping. Yeah, Garage Flip says the little bar icon is in the search box on the app. Okay, cool. Maybe I was getting mixed up with Amazon. Joshua Davidson, I didn't know about the scanner. Yeah, you're welcome. Go use it. It's pretty good. $60. That's what I'm thinking. If you guys are trying to start your eBay business or Amazon or Craigslist, just go on YouTube, guys. There are so many videos out there. It's crazy. People who know a lot more than me as well, like way more than me. But one thing I think I do well is I focus a lot on the basic stuff that a lot of people will say, like, Steve, like, why are you talking about these brands? Like, everybody knows it. Or like, why are you talking about the basic stuff? Because when you're new, the basic stuff is like the biggest obstacle in the world. Like, I remember sending out my first FBA shipment, right? Like, I remember like listing my first items on eBay. Like, it was so hard. Like, I remember going into thrift stores and I only knew one brand, Pendleton. And then I knew two brands, Pendleton and Territory Ahead. Like, this is the stuff that people need getting started, right? So definitely be sure to, spend some time on YouTube. There's so many good YouTube channels. It's crazy. I'm the master communicator. I appreciate that. I don't know about that, but that's super nice of you to say. So Sarah Chang is mentioning the list of brands. I'm going to copy and paste that into the description right now. Let me see if I can do that. That live. Let's see. Okay, cool. So we're going to type that in right here. Brands mentioned in video. Cool. Awesome. We'll save that. So there we go. Uh, okay, back in action. Let's see. Make sure I'm live still. Okay, cool. What's up, Bonafide Hustler? Good to see you, man. If you guys aren't following the Bonafide Hustler, be sure to give him a follow. Right now, we're pretty much at the end of the show, just chit chatting a little bit with everybody in the comments, answering some questions. If you guys want the brands that I mentioned in the live show, who was it that just typed that out? Sarah Chang was actually nice enough to write out all the brands, so I put it in the description. You could check them all out right there, and I'll clean that up a little bit after the show, but definitely check that out. D. Duran, do you have a YouTube video showing how to set up triggers on KDC 200? I've actually never. Is the KDC 200 like that $50 scanner? I think I saw Reezy Resells helping to promote that. I've never used that. And I never figured out the triggers when I was using FBA Scan. I never used it. I never got that serious. So unfortunately, I can't help you. But check out Reezy Resells on YouTube. Check out his Facebook group as well. The dude is on a whole nother level with books. Vicky says, I learned so much from YouTube in the last 9 months. I'm telling you guys, YouTube is the place to go. Video is taking over. Video is the place to learn. I love YouTube. I'm so grateful for YouTube. All right, cool. So I'm just going through some of the final questions. I think we're going to wrap up this live show, guys. If you guys did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment down below, say hello, shout you out really quick. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber already. Mysterium, yes, Reezy Resell. Just look him up on YouTube. I did a live show with him as well. He's done like over $5 million in books over the last like 10 years or so. So he's done very, very well. Check out his YouTube channel. Garage Flips, thank you so much for watching live. Appreciate it, man. Jennifer Princess, I've just started listing and I've learned a lot from you in many other videos. I'm obsessed. Jennifer, once you find out this crazy world of reselling, it's hard to get away from it. You know, it's super tough to, once you realize the opportunities that are out there, just at thrift stores and garage sales, it's hard to go back to your old self. And I haven't gone back to my old self in 5 years, and I don't plan on it. So, and reselling is just the first step. Once you get into this reselling game, you start to learn about other ways to make money as well. I've learned about all different types of ways to make money from, publishing books and creating my own products and membership courses and affiliate marketing and email marketing and, Shopify and e-commerce stores. I mean, it's just insane. So reselling is, you can stay there forever, which is great. And there's a million things to do in reselling, but there's also another million things to do outside of that, right? DJ John says, much love to your Green Room team for the no nonsense videos. DJ John, I appreciate it. For the guys who don't know what the Green Room is, that's actually a paid membership site that I run alongside with the Bonafide Hustler and the College Picker. And we actually have a free book, which I will open up for you guys. If you go into the description area below, it says free book, 100 amazing items to resell. Be sure to grab that. This is it. Get our best 100 products you can resell on eBay, Amazon, and more to make some ridiculous profits. Learn the exact items you can buy and sell from thrift stores. Learn how to inspect items and learn how to spot where to sell and which brands are worth the most money. Free book, just throw in your email. We'll send that over to you guys. If you want to get some more free content, be sure to check out greenroomuniversity.com, rakeandprofit.com, and just go on YouTube and start searching for videos, guys. There's a lot of really, really good YouTubers out there. The Bonafide Hustler, check out the Thrifting Board. Check out Rockstar Flipper, Hustler Hacks, Prof Sales, Reezy Resells. There are so many amazing channels out there, guys. The list goes on and on. The Golden Finger Picker, Craigslist Hunter, Hearts Pickers. So many great YouTube channels out there. Get educated. Go make it happen, guys. Smash that like button. Show some love. Subscribe. See you in the next video. Keep on picking and making that money, and we'll talk soon. Bye.